What up, sports fans? I'm Paulo Camacho, and this is the Macho Sports Report, where I talk to you about the sports stories that matter to me, hopefully matter to you. So, seems like the natives are getting a little restless. What am I talking about, you may ask? Well, it's obvious, isn't it? The San Francisco Giants are going through yet another offseason, striking out on all the biggest free agent targets. Many Giants remember the free agent mega flub of 2014, when two of their biggest free agent targets, incumbent third baseman Pablo Sandoval and former A's ace John Lester, slipped through their hands and went to other clubs. Many of their subsequent free agent targets opted for elsewhere, and ultimately, their best gets were Nori Aoki and Casey McGee. Ugh. It's difficult to say anything's changed thus far in this year's hot stove. After all, the Giants lost out on their top free agent target, Zack Greinke, and while they've been linked to a bevy of names in the last few days, their big move thus far has been a $90 million contract for what many pundits consider a question mark. Meanwhile, you got Tony La Russa and Dave Stewart pulling triggers in the desert and making moves for Greinke and Shelby Miller and possibly Mike Leake. It's no wonder the SF Examiner's already criticized the Giants front office for being all talk, while the Diamondbacks' actions are speaking very loudly in the NL West. With that in mind, no wonder the fan base is so frustrated. Then again, you do have to consider that the D-backs mortgaged a bunch of young talent in an effort to win now. I mean, that trade for Miller garnered Atlanta one of Arizona's best young outfielders, top pitching prospect Aaron Blair, and 2015 number 1 overall pick Dansby Swanson. Nobody has ever traded away an asset like that so quickly in the history of the major leagues. A lot for what could amount to a rental at the number 2 slot in the rotation. You're probably not seeing the Giants make such a risky move. Probably because it's actually burned them before. Anybody remember the Carlos Beltran debacle of 2011? They traded away Zach Wheeler, considered the Giants' best pitching prospect at the time, for what amounted to borrowing Beltran for 3 months, only to see him leave for St. Louis in the offseason. My point is, experts have agreed that while Arizona has vastly improved this offseason, there's a chance they still haven't done enough to jump to the forefront of the NL West. Remember the last time an NL West team tried to get better quick through free agency? How'd that work out? And as for San Francisco, you mean the team that has won 3 World Series titles without making so much as one big free agent offseason signing in that span? Something tells me that this front office will figure things out. Lest we forget, one of the biggest reasons the 2015 version of this club didn't make the postseason was the string of unfortunate injuries befalling key players all season long. Look, I get it. Giants fans are frustrated that we aren't making a splash to fix what ails us. We swung and missed on Greinke and on Zobrist and apparently on Jason Hayward. But again, making a splash doesn't automatically equate to more wins. Hell, maybe Samardzija and a few minor pieces will be enough to compete, even against Greinke and Miller in Arizona and Kershaw and Iwakuma in Los Angeles. They've done better with less. Just saying. But I do want to know what you think. What else should the Giants do to compete with the rest of the NL West? And am I being too optimistic about their offseason so far? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm Paulo Camacho, and this has been the Macho Sports Report. Peace out, sports fans!